Well, I will tell you that Jonathan Beaulieu came into my office one day and I was a nervous wreck because I'm like, oh my God, it's Jonathan Beaulieu. I mean, what the heck?
What, you met? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh my God, tell me more.
Years ago. Yeah, it was years ago. And I thought he was going to ask me all these questions about frequencies and I wasn't going to be able to answer them. It was when I just opened my
Right.
center and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? And he looked around. You're going to know the personality that he has. He looked around and goes, yep, this is the real deal. Never asked a single question.
Really?
And at the end, he gave me the best advice ever. He said, the cream always rises to the top. This is the cream. And now people tell me, oh, are you afraid? There's another pod that came out and so-and-so has a healing pod and so-and-so has a healing pod and so-and-so. And that statement from Jonathan, the cream always rises to the top. I say that all the time. I'm like, you know what? The harmonic egg's the cream and it will always rise to the top.
John has been my mentor, friend, confidant, every which way. He's such a great teacher for me. And as a matter of fact, when we created the colored tuning forks, so now we create them, right? Oh, wow, we got this colored tuning forks. He makes a setup and he says, here. I said, well, what am I going to do with it? He says, go create the protocols. I'm done. What do you mean you're done? You're done. You're supposed to. He says, no, I'm done. He says, I made them for you. Yeah. That's what he did. He said, I made them for you. He hands them to me and he says, you figure it out. And now I go back to my office and I did, I'm not going to get into that, but we did all these different things, trying different things on patients. And, one of the things I like to share is that who was the first patient? Me. Yeah. Always.
Same. Always. Yeah. And when going back to the study stuff, if you did a study with one eye doctor that wasn't you and another eye doctor that was you, the studies are going to come out completely different. So I get it. Your energy's in it. Everything is energy. And I know that we both are strapped for time and we could talk, we probably should do a part 2. But let me ask, because I wanted to ask you about your Bluetec lenses. I wanted to ask you about what you're seeing with kids and the glasses and the electronics and the computers. Okay. And I know a lot of this stuff is covered on your website. So I want to make sure we talk about your website. Where did you get that bottle from? Because someone's going to ask me, oh, he flashed this bottle and I don't know where to get it from.
Golden Ratio, I think it's called goldenratioproducts.com or Golden Ratio. Is that a great name? Golden Ratio. And so, but I want to answer those other questions. Okay. So I'm just going to slide this off because I'm so skilled that I can do 2 things at the same time. By the way, if you ever want to know who I am, here's the button sitting next to me thing. Salvadore Dali.
Salvadore Dali.
Okay. That's all there is. So anyway, this water bottle is from goldenratioproducts.com. And I think that's what it is, or it's goldenratio.com. But anyway, so the shape of this is sacred geometry. And so what it does is it structures the water. It structures the water so that the water is enhanced when I drink it. Seems like a good idea to me, right? So you asked all these different questions, which I want to make sure to answer, but I want to just say one thing about John Beaulieu. So John is really has been a tremendous inspiration to me, and he in some ways obviously is I mean, if I haven't figured me out by now, people in Gail land, I don't know. I think I'm pretty transparent, but he gives me permission in some ways to just go to that extra level and that extra thing. And as a matter of fact, that machine behind me is called the Synthenizer, and I use it with colored light with patients in my office. And I had a second one, so I gave it to John. And he's sitting, and actually going through all the colors and ready? He looks at it, he writes down his experiences, and then he records his dreams. Yeah, you really wanna work in this realm, that's the place.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
there
place.
is no other place, in my opinion, after all these years of struggling with, you know, I wanted to get an education. So I, you know, went to school for 13 years and I never got an education. I got it myself from, you know, and the books
Absolutely.
are outdated. The teachers are clueless. I mean, and I just, it's just frustrating. And I've been living in a different realm, and you're so right. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have a practice in New York City in Park Slope in Brooklyn, for those of you who know where that is, and it's super expensive and blah, 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 blah. And there's a lockdown in New York City. Oh, great, nobody can work. That's not so good. Well, and then I, you know, go to my landlord and say, hey, you know, like I don't actually have the rent because I have no patients. And he says, and so I've been there 25 years, right? He says to me, we all have bills to pay. And then that's called the uh-oh meter. Uh-oh. That's the bad answer. Don't answer that way. Oh my God, what do you mean? What do you mean we all have bills? So anyway, so that goes on a couple of months because the lockdown keeps going on. And so I end up closing my office. And why do I tell you that? Because I convert the whole thing to doing it online. So I do the whole thing online, and then I have doctors in New York City who see my patients. How's that? Is that cool? And then they send me the results, and then I do consults and stuff. And then I do that with people all over the country, all over the world. And they send me the results. Why am I telling you that? Because it has forced me to be sitting in front of a computer screen. You know what? It sucks. It sucks. Okay, it really does. It's awful. And so the sun produces blue light. How much of the sun's light is blue light? 14%. Oh, that's a number. 14% is blue light. What percentage, you've all heard about blue light, right? You know, blue light comes off of computer screens and phones. What percentage of your phone is blue light? 80% of your phone is blue light. Not so good, okay? That's why you're getting headaches and migraines and all this stuff, and you're more irritable, all these things from looking at these screens. And actually this morning, I thought that when I was thinking about this, I said, oh, great, this is a podcast. I won't be on the computer. And then Gail's assistant sends me this Zoom link. I go, Zoom? Because, you know, in reality, I don't mind being on the computer with my patients, but I don't want to be on the computer any other time. So these glasses, other than the fact that these are the coolest frame you ever saw in your life, right? I mean, these frames are made from recycled vinyl records. You can feel free to contact me, and I'll tell you where I got them. But the lens in it is this stuff called Bluetec. And Bluetec is the difference between most blue light filtering lenses is that they're coatings on the lens. Okay, is that Bluetec?
It's Swanwick.
I don't know one from the other. But
yeah,
anyway,
but I don't know if they're any good.
Yeah, but the thing about Bluetec is that the lens, the filter is in the lens itself, so it's not a coating. And it filters, but it still filters, 40, 50%. It doesn't filter 100%. But I don't go anywhere without it. I mean, and by the way, I'm not in New York City anymore. I'm in the woods. But when you're in New York City, every single light is blue light. All those LEDs in your house, get rid of them. Okay, they're all producing blue light. What you need is bulbs like this, and what they are is Chromolux. Chromolux bulbs are actually sunlight indoors. The sun's good for you. We like the sun. Okay, the sun is really good for you. The Mayans used to spend their entire waking life staring at the sun. Okay, the sun is good for you. And by the way, if you ever want to stare at the sun, I mean, you don't want to stare directly at the sun, but, so I don't want to say that, it's unlight. I'm not telling you to stare at the sun, but the sunlight at dawn is the healthiest sun because it's actually equal amounts of infrared and ultraviolet, but that's another topic for another time. So, but that's blue light. And that's what Bluetec is. Now, what was the other question?
So the other question was, and I want you to talk about the 20-20-20 rule as well.
Okay.
But the other question was about these kids. You know, these kids are online all the time.
Right.
I'm wondering what you're seeing with the eyesight of these kids. My niece, who's 14, said everyone in her class wears glasses.
That's right. So what's happening? So why did Clark Kent? By the way, this is how you, if what I'm about to say is that for those of you who have lasted this long in this interview, okay, if you ever thought that I wasn't the king of the non sequitur, here it comes. Why is it that Clark Kent wore glasses? Because that was his timid intellectual side. And Superman, of course, didn't wear glasses because Superman didn't read. Okay, Clark Kent read. Okay, I mean, he flew around. He saved people. It was actually but not a bad life. Come to think of it. So he got to wear that great outfit. Okay, sorry, I'm off on a tangent. Okay, so back to this. So reading causes nearsightedness, flat out. Why? Because you're focusing your eyes. Eyes are not designed to focus over here. Eyes are designed to focus, to throw the spear at the animal running across the horizon. That's what it's for, okay? And so eyes are not designed to sit at a computer screen. And what they're finding, they did a study, I know we're not supposed to talk about studies, but it's interesting. They did this thing in Japan of finding that, from the pandemic, a lot of people are becoming nearsighted. And they become nearsighted because you focus at this incredibly small thing. This thing, holy cow. I mean, this thing, you're focusing inordinate amounts of time on these very, very small things. My patients would come into my office in Brooklyn. They say, oh yeah, I came here on the subway. I was on the subway for 45 minutes. I say, what did you do? He said, oh, I read a book on my phone. I read a book on your phone. I said, I said, so you're staring at this blue light thing, right? On a phone, right? Like read it in a book, books. That's why books were created. But that excess focus, fatigues your eyes. It's terrible for your eyes. And it causes your eyes to become nearsighted. And so for those of you who are fearful that your glasses will make your eyes worse, it's true. They will, especially if they're prescribed symptomatically. Yeah. Well, how many doctors prescribe non-symptomatically? I do. Any others? I don't know. I'm sure there's one or two, but not many. Okay. Your vision's a little blurred. Like I used to say, being an eye doctor is the easiest job in the world. Why? You come to me, your vision's blurred, right? I give you glasses, I make your eyes worse, and you love me. Like, wow, what a great job. Great job. I actually make you worse and you think I'm great. Okay.
I heard one of your interviews where you said you give the patient a prescription less than what they have so that you're not making, because then you get dependent on these prescriptions, right? Yeah. Right.
Well, so how did I become so popular with the Orthodox Jewish community, considering I'm not Orthodox Jewish? Okay. And the answer, and believe me, it wasn't my jokes. I guarantee it. Okay. But I'll tell you what it was. I came up with this idea. Remember, everything's on the table. If you want to learn anything, everything's on the table. If anybody could be the mantra of that, it is the lady sitting across cyberspace from me. Oh, everything is on the table. So I see these kids, they spend their entire day in a book focused at this distance, and their teacher is about 8 feet away. So I come up with this idea. I say, why am I correcting them for 20 feet? Why don't I correct them for 8 feet? I'll make them see clearly from their here to 8 feet. And after that, it'll be blurred. And they're not going to care because their entire world is here anyway. So I do that. I send them, and of course, I'm doing this with the people who are feeding their kids green. I figure, and they're going to be open for this. So I send them off into the world, and the kids can't see anything far away. I give them glasses; they can't see anything far away. Guess what happens? Their prescriptions stop changing and actually reverse. Why? Because they're wearing glasses that actually relax their eyes. So so I became this monster hit in the community because suddenly, instead of their eyes getting worse, they're actually getting better. And then, of course, you can do exercise with it, but you could just prescribe glasses creatively like that. And that's what I've done. So that's what that 20-20-20 rule is. Every 20, when you're at a computer, everybody listen, if you haven't listened up until now, every 20 minutes for 20 seconds, you need to look 20 feet away. Every 20 minutes for 20 seconds, you need to look 20 feet away. Why 20 feet? Because that's what 20-20 is. 20 feet is optical infinity. And so when you look 20 feet or beyond, your eyes are parallel and relaxed. Okay? So
You're awesome. You are so amazing. I always learn something from you.
oh, thanks. I'm glad. I'm glad.
So tell me, I'm probably going to make this into 2 parts, so people will be excited, and they,
Also, they could also stay awake.
The attention span of most people is, little. So I think we're going to make this in 2 parts, and because I want people to be refreshed and listen to the second part too.
Okay, sure.
So tell me, what does the world need now besides love, sweet love?
Well, first of all, so interesting that you should do that. So let's do that together. So there was an exercise done just like this, and it was created by Bates. And Bates was a guy in the 1920s. And then I'm sorry, I know it's an aside, but what can I tell you? I mean, look, you invited me here. It's the way it goes. So anyway, so Bates was a guy in the 1920s, and what he did was he wrote this book about improving your vision. The mistake he made is he tried to prove it to the society, and of course his beliefs were incorrect. But what he created was yoga for the eyes, and this is called palming, and anyone who's taken a yoga class can do it. And so what you do is you rub your hands back and forth, you make them warm, you cup your hands, you put them over your eyes, and you breathe. Do that every day, nothing else, and your eyes will relax. What does the world need now? The world needs, boy, that's a great question, man. I don't even know how to answer it. I think that what the world needs is to make a reset. We need to, I think that COVID, I'm glad that we never spoke about COVID because I don't want to talk about COVID, but the COVID is the great reset. We're being asked to pay attention that what we're doing and the way we're living doesn't make sense. And this vibration stuff that I'm talking about, that Gail's talking about with the egg and all this stuff, it ain't rocket science. I mean, you might think I'm some smart guy. I don't know that that's true. I think you want to know what, if you think I'm smart, here's what makes me smart. I pay attention. I listen to my patients. I listen to everybody who talks to me. I pay attention. And this whole thing that's going on is let's pay attention. The answers as to what we need to do, it's all here. It's been given to us. It's been given to us, the tuning forks, what are they? They're the ragas. The ragas that the Indian, that the Hindus came up with in India, gazillions of years ago. They're sacred vibrations, sacred sounds. And ultimately, that's where the healing comes from. We all need to think we need to take a drug or whatever it is, or surgery or vaccination, whatever the hell it is. All these different things that it's going to heal us. the healing is within us. The healing is inside. All we have to do is tap in. You know, one of the things I used to say to patients, I used to say that everything is a symptom. Everything is a symptom. What's the cause? That what I said to you in the beginning, the disconnect between the divine and your soul. That's the cause.
Every time.
Everything,
we have all the answers. We have every answer there is.
Every answer is here.
And this great reset is brilliant because we're going to have new industries form, hopefully a new educational system, a new mortgage, system where people can actually own their homes and not be, the slaves to their mortgage. Hopefully we'll have new airline industry because that's going awry. The monopolies need to go away. We need to have this a different, more beautiful world. And I can see it in my mind's eye. Speaking of eye, pun intended.
Well done.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful new world this is a great reset. And I agree with you 100%. I'm excited about it.
I am too. I mean, I wish I didn't have to go through this bullshit to get here, but I do think that ultimately, I mean, you think about it for me. So I have a practice for 35 years. I'm actually 70 years old, and I was ready to just sort of work my way out to the end of my lease and call it a day. And now that's all gone, and I'm here. And you know what? It's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I never would have done it, and never would have come up with any other way. I would have just kind of, I don't know, done what I'm supposed to do and kind of go on my merry way. But the reality is, this is what I needed to do. And I think that is what's, we're being called. We're being called. We're not being asked. We're being called. And you can pay attention or not, but everyone's saying, when's this going to be over so I can go back to the other way? You're never going back to the other way. That other way is long gone. And by the way, we started this whole conversation out with astrology, did we not? Okay. It's all in the stars. You go look at the astrology of right now in the United States. It's all there. It's the Pluto return.
The Libra new moon that we just had was about liberation. I mean, we're just moving forward in the age of Aquarius and everything. It's beautifully orchestrated. It's divinely, out there. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
It is. It's all right there. By the way, I've been interviewed more than once in my time. I have never had an interview that was more fun than this, because it was like, like to be interviewed and say, hey, wow, why don't you just say anything? Oh, that's pretty good, and it's just, sometimes, you get interviewed and Jerry, I know what you're talking about. Why don't you talk about this? I know, you're over here. Why don't you talk about this? But, I want to make sure you talk about this. It's like, thank you. It's really, really, really a pleasure to.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just don't know how we connected like this, but it's so beautiful. I feel like I've known you my whole life, and it's just really comfortable. And I thought, you know what? I got to let people know about you. So how do they find you?
Well, I'll tell you in a second, but I will just say that I have to say that that this almost didn't happen, because every time Gail would contact me, I would say, I really can't really do it that day. I really can't really do it I can't really do it that day. And it was like, what are you doing? Just do the interview, Jerry. And Gail was so persistent and got me to do it. And so how you contact me, my website is holisticeyecare.com, which was, I thought, pretty cool to get that one, wasn't easy. I guess I give out my email.
You can, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so my email is ALT, it's ALTIDR. It's ALTEYEDR1 @gmail. But that's also on my website, so you can see that. And I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing, but I can't find it. So forget it. I won't say it.
Okay.
All right. So I was going to give that Helen Keller quote on my website, but I can't remember it exactly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell people about this book too. I don't know if you can see, it's called Robes by Penny Kelly.
Uh-huh.
It was written in 1999, and she's basically, you know, 4 monks in robes come to her, and she tells this whole story about how our world's going to unfold. And in 1999, she wrote this, and you can see what's happening right now and where we're going. So I'm really enjoying the book. It's really inspirational, and it's very keeping me optimistic and positive about, you know, the new world and the reset. So
yeah, well, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do for all your patients. Thank you for who you are in this world as you walk this world. And I hope to talk to you again soon.
I look forward to it. Be well.
Bye-bye.